All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to React and Chill. On this channel, there's two things I like to do, and that's react and chill. Going to be doing both those things right here, right now. Going to be reacting to a video by John Reeves. John Reeves is, I guess you could describe him as the heartthrob of the reactor sphere. Why would I describe him like that? Never mind that. Let's move on. Why your favorite bands aren't playing in the U.S. is the title of the video. Okay. Well, if you like this sort of thing, make sure you press that like button, share, subscribe. I know everyone says that, but it does help me out, and I definitely do appreciate that. All right, let's go and get started here. This should be... I can imagine this being a touchy subject, but let's be respectful in the comment section, okay? Let's go and play it.
We're going to be talking about something a little bit different for our channel, and it is something that's extremely important. So please, I know this kind of might be a different topic for us, but it definitely affects all of the music that we check out on our channel. You guys know I am a very big fan of international bands and international music. Recently, I was over in Tokyo, and we were talking to our homie Peter Lim, who is in Made News Network, and we were talking about kind of like the Japanese music scene and a lot of why some of these bands that are amazing, like underground or local bands in Japan, aren't really coming over to America, and we were kind of speculating on different reasons why. Well, 2 days ago, he posted on Twitter or X this tweet. It says, "For those wondering why some acts from Japan are not doing tours in the States, this article on visa fees and application."
Visa fees. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, that could be quite expensive. I can imagine there. All right.
Processes will give you some insight. It's already done, and it's been doing damage to the flow of Japanese music into the US. So this article is from Alternate Press, and it's essentially talking about how the application for a visa fee has gone up from $460 to about $1,600 or $1,655. This is per person, by the way.
Wait, back up. I want to hear that again. I don't think I've heard that right.
Or $1,655. This is
$1,655 per person. This was back in April. I'm thinking April 2024, right?
Per person, by the way. Per person in the band or management or freaking sound tech or your freaking driver or anything. Per person, $1,600 that you have to spend just for the application. That can actually still be denied, and it's non-refundable. So if this application process does not go...
Oh, yeah, it could be, huh? That's government for you. That is government. That goes with anything. You pay the fee to process anything, and you get denied. You do not get any refunds. Hey. That's just a whole government entirely there, okay?
Go through within the 4 to 6 month time frame that you're expected to have to wait for this thing, you do not get that money back. So in saying that, let's break down this article a little bit more. It says, on April 1st, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services instituted a 250%...
I want to know, is that April 1st, 2024 or 2025? Look, the reason I ask is because people are going to be looking who to blame, okay? I think this is just the U.S. government in general, okay? I think it is just that, okay? That's what I'm thinking is happening here. All right, I'm not picking a side here. I'm just saying I think this is a move done. You could say maybe a bipartisan move, which sucks if I'm right there. Or if not. Anyway, let's go and continue.
Visa fee increase. Artist advocacy groups and immigration lawyers are concerned it could have devastating effects on the emerging talent worldwide and local music economies in the U.S. So essentially, whenever they're talking about these local music economies, they're talking about bands from overseas that might be able to draw anywhere between like 50 to 200, 300, 400 people in their venue. They're not able to showcase those bands anymore. This bands from all over the world that are having to actually apply for this visa. So they're losing out on that. There's so many other avenues avenues that people are losing out money on just because of this fee, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. So it says, what are the costs? If you're a musician outside of the United States hoping to perform stateside and file your paperwork visa before April 1st, the cost per application was about $460. And by the way, this is April 1st, 2024. So this
okay, April 1st, 2024. Okay, so I'm going to say there is for those wanting to like be like, oh, this was a Orange Man bad situation. It happened before him. Okay, it's like it's just the U.S. government sticking it to all of them, and I kind of wonder why this is happening. I mean, let's take a moment to speculate on this. Like, why increase the price of the visa like that? Is it really for greed? Is it really for money, or is it also used as a deterrent? Be like, why? Well, what if for some reason there was some incentive to like curtail international bands and in favor of local bands, local acts? I don't know. That could just be being conspiracy minded there. Look, I'm looking at this. I'm like, that's a pretty steep price. That's an extremely steep price to pay. And it's like insane. That means Love Bites, because Love Bites was in Dallas in September, right? Yeah, because I did see them live. So did they pay the crazy fee, or did they get their visas all sorted out before April 1st, 2024? I don't know. I would imagine, I would hope they got it sorted out before April 1st, 2024. I mean, that's a hefty fine. That's a tax, dude. That's what that is. For nothing but to just process the application. Not to approve it, just to process it. And it's a government form. I guarantee you it is dense. And I guarantee you the person on the other side looking at that can be as picky as they could ever be, right? With government forms, you think, oh, I could probably leave this part blank. It doesn't seem to apply to me. And then depending who is on the other side, they may make an issue over that. They may make an issue over something so petty, so benign, and you're like, what? Like, your whole purpose is just to process the paperwork. Don't make yourself a hero, okay? You know what the paperwork says, okay? Why are you being so, like, petty like that? But sometimes these government workers are like that. Not all, but, you know, a lot of them, I don't know if a lot of them, but some of them are, right? It sucks. I want to feel important, too. Sometimes power trips come in. Anyway, let's continue.
This was last year, April 1st. After that date, it is moved to $1,615 or $1,655. Bands and ensemble groups pay per performer. A standard rock band of 4 members went from paying $1,840 to around $6,460. And if you can wait a few months for approval, add $2,800 per application.
Oh, you can pay more to expedite the processing. Oh, it is such a freaking scam. It is a bogus scam. There's no reason for it to cost that much. Who does it benefit for it to cost that much? Because this money, it's not going to your local community. This money isn't going to the venue. This money is not going to anyone but the government. So who is this benefiting? Okay? This is gross. This is garbage. This is completely disgusting here. Like I asked before, earlier, what's the reason for this increase? Is it that they have to adjust it to some sort of expense? What expense? Right? That doesn't make any sense. It's government bureaucracy. What sort of expense are we talking about? I think it's a deterrent, man. It might be conspiracy minded here, but I mean, maybe.
for expedited processing. The application is not accepted, that money is not refunded, on top of losses from tour cancellations and missing out on significant potential career-changing opportunities. There are a few exemptions to something along these lines, and let's talk about that really quick. It says all international musicians require work authorization to perform in the US. There are few exemptions. Those are reserved for showcases throughout the visa waiver program, like what is often used by South by Southwest, where international artists perform exclusively at official showcases without pay and for exposure. Now that does happen quite often.
Okay. So the exemption is you got to pay for free. No, pay for free, but play for free. You got to play, but it has to cost you. It's going to cost you the expense of getting there and stuff and all that stuff. Because I don't know about the travel arrangements, right? You gotta play for free. Dude, that sucks.
Often where there will be like a Japanese showcasing where necessarily there aren't tickets sold for the event or the artist isn't getting paid. They're getting paid in exposure, and that does happen quite often. It might be a thing where they do get travel accommodations or something along the lines. They just can't make a profit off of that show, and I'm not sure exactly how that all gets worked around, but there are
That's kind of interesting.
I guess those workarounds, but that's very specific, and that's for only the showcases, and it's not for everybody. And I'm assuming that the paperwork is very scrutinized on what exactly gets to be considered a showcase.
100%.
It's not necessarily everything. And again, if you're playing shows over here, you would expect to get paid over here because these bands also have lives and bills where they live. So it's insane to think that we can bring bands over here to play for free. So then this goes on to say, why have these fees jumped so much? It says 2 reasons. They hadn't in some time, and because of the immigration officials are scrutinizing the process more closely. The last increase was in 2016 when it grew from $320 to $460. The U.S. government is putting more and more burden on the application process, says Castro, which specializes in visas for musicians, entertainers, and athletes. He says 20 years ago, the application was just about 2 or 3 pages. Now they're 15 to 20 pages, which is insane. I've actually kind of looked through a lot.
So they added more pages. Not only does it cost more, but there's more paperwork involved. I mean, that theory about all this being a deterrent was something I just cooked up in the moment. I mean, but it's kind of, I'm seeing weight to it now.
This application process, and it's not only the 15 or 20 pages that it's talking about here, it's also showing proof of a lot of different things. So we'll get into that here in just a minute. And those are forms just before supporting evidence, he says. Now submitting documents that are 200 pages to 300 pages long, just explaining why this band should be traveling throughout the United States. Officials
You gotta explain all that. Okay.
Might have done better to look at inefficiencies in the system to save money, he says. Presley said he'd heard the increase will allow the USCIS to get rid of backlogging, but is that because they're going to be employing more staff, or probably because you're getting less applicants? He wonders because
the second one. The second option. Less applicants. You're not going to have to backlog if you get fewer applicants.
the benefit of who can afford to go rather than who wants to go or has the fan base to go.
So I want to know if we could find out who lobbied for this increase. Is that something we could find if there was some group that was you know what? Maybe we should tell the government they should increase the visas for these international artists. Why?
So in saying all that, I know that the probably title of this video is why your favorite bands aren't playing in the US. If your favorite bands are massive bands or bands that are the size of BABYMETAL, The Warning, Auto, which is touring the US pretty soon, 1OK Rock, which is touring the US currently. So even though those groups are going to be just fine with paying an extra $10 to $15 or $20,000 for application processes to get their entire crew over here to run a live show, when you're selling out 10 to 20,000 people arenas, that's totally fine. But with smaller bands like the band Mr. Fantastic, they're not going to be packing out these multi-thousand people venues, and because of that, they're not going to be making that much money. And a big thing here is it's not necessarily only cutting off the musicians or the bands that are trying to tour here. It's also crushing a lot of local commerce that's going to be coming through. Tax dollars.
That's true. Yeah, I could see it personally. When I went to go see Love Bites in Dallas, what did I do? Well, I mean, I protect in local business for sure, 100%. Local restaurants, local thrift stores, all that stuff, man. But when it's the same thing, like, what do you do? What do you do when you go to? I mean, if you have to go somewhere far away from your home, right? And it's very far away where you have to get like a hotel and stuff. Like, you're gonna be staying in that area. You might hit up some places in that area, right? Right.
That are going to be spent going to hotels for the fans of these bands, paying for tickets. Every single ticket that you buy, you're also paying state and local sales tax. So the government is also losing out on a lot of local money that the local communities are actually going to be spending to go see these bands.
Oh, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that they're losing out on money. They just might increase the price even more.
They're losing out on a ton of money in just that alone. So one thing on this article that I did want to talk about, I am not into politics at all, but I am going to say this really quick. It says, why have the applications changed over time? Castro says that some of it is to account for abuse in the system, to make sure that individuals that are coming here for certain activities actually use those activities in place. But the increased scrutiny is a lingering effect from the Trump's administration immigration policies. Now, yes, that does make sense to me, but also keep in mind, this thing actually dropped April 1st, 2024, which was
2024 was Trump wasn't even, it wasn't even the, what? Biden was there. You know, I think Trump was on trial for something. Okay. It's like, come on, man. Come on. I mean, how's the article going to blame Trump when he wasn't even in the White House? I don't understand that. What? I understand in 2016, but we're talking about a big increase in April 1st, 2024. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. Don't you lie to me. And no, I'm not talking about John Reeves. I'm talking about the article. Like what? The truth is, the U.S. government's, I'm going to tell you something you may not agree. Maybe you do agree. I think the U.S. government kind of sucks. Don't get it twisted. I don't mean like the ideas of what it means to be an American and all that stuff. I'm talking about the bloated, wasteful government that just takes your money, right? They don't make money. They take your money. Oh, don't get me started on that. Okay? Because look at this. They jacked up those fees. They jacked up the fees on the visas. For what? And who benefits, right? They do. The government benefits. Okay? That's who benefits. Anyway.
4 years into Biden's administration. So any of these lingering policies and this in particular thing didn't have to go through. It's bipartisan sweeping it under the rug. And in my opinion, it's bipartisan burning of a cultural bridge. So if we don't get past the, is it Trump, is it Biden, is it whoever, we're not going to get the issue.
Yeah. We have to get past that. Get past, is it Trump or is it Biden? It is the U.S. government. Okay? It is the U.S. government. It is Uncle Sam doing what he likes to do. He just likes to take your money. That's what he likes to do. Okay? That is what it is there. Am I wrong? He likes to take your money. What does he do with it? Is he helping you? No, okay. Whoa. We don't have to get in there.
So the next thing this article says is, who does this harm? It says Dua Lipa, the Rolling Stone said, are they going to pay these fees? And it's not even a rounding error. They can misplace $1,200 in their budget and they won't even notice it. It's the indie rock bands, niche scene acts, jazz musicians from Japan that will be affected.
Yes, which makes me wonder if this was some sort of deterrent to prevent them from even coming over here. Because they're a threat maybe. I don't know. It just seems very odd to me to jack up the price that much.
dime counts, and they have very small margins, he adds. He said, we've already got a problem with not enough musical acts breaking through the next level, and this is going to stop them from getting that chance in the States. Touring the US is a pipe dream for any independent act, he says, and it's in danger of not even being a dream. He also points out that there will be a ripple effect. Musicians, drivers, tour managers, and beyond who would be hired to work with international talent will lose work. Venues will lose fruitful bookings. Festivals who focus on international talent will reduce in size. The cost of tickets could increase, and so on. I will go on and say the cost in tickets has increased dramatically, and I'm not sure if it's only on the Ticketmaster side or else, but it is definitely getting more expensive. They also said that these increases could affect U.S. music culture, the richness of the music economy.
Oh, for sure, 100% it will.
Genres. If lesser-known global genre artists cannot perform in the U.S., audiences will miss out on critical cultural exchange. We need a marketplace to be friendly and acceptable to all those different types of musicians. I could not agree with that part anymore. That is the biggest part that is bothering me about this. The fact that there are so many bands out there that are wanting to play the US and come see the United States market, that are dreaming of breaking out over here, have now this paywall that it's all hidden behind. And it's like, how exactly are they supposed to be able to get over here whenever flying out here is expensive enough? These costs...
You know what? I kind of wonder if the other thing they're going to have to do to get around all these fees and stuff is to some of these bands going back just to doing like a live stream concert. I know that's not the same thing. You know, it's not the same thing at all, right? But you kind of have to, like, if that's the only way you can really reach your fans without having to pay these stupid fees, all right? A tax just to perform. That's what it is.
These application fees on top of that makes it impossible for a smaller band to be able to do that. One thing that they scared me with here, it says if the US is making it increasingly difficult and expensive for musicians to come here, why wouldn't other countries do the same to our artists? And that, in my opinion, is probably one of the most damning things in this. So in talking about this, I actually talked to my friend Ryan, and we were talking about exactly what does this cost look like? Like, what is the actual breakdown of these filing fees? Because if you look online, it says about 205.
Ryan from Guys and Guys, or is it Dicodec, or whatever.
Dicodec is the application for the visa. And I thought, how did we get from here to there? How does this happen? So we looked it up. It is actually considered a type P1B visa. That's the application that they're actually applying for. And it says for every band member, this was in effect of April 1st, 2024, US CIS filing fee. Standard employer, it's about $1,015 for that. So from there, then there's an asylum programming fee, which standard is about $600. Then a premium processing fee. This one's optional.
Yeah, premium, guys. Oh, it's just going to speed up the process. It's like pay to play, dude.
If you wanted to do the premium processing, that's essentially if you want this done in 15 days. But if you don't do it within that time, its normal wait time is from 4 to 6 months. That's how long it takes for these visas to come back in. That's insane. So your total estimated cost on that is about $1,615. That is an insane amount of money to expect any individuals to come over here and play music for us.
It's an insane amount of money, right? You would have to be insane to pay that amount of money. Huh.
Spreading art and its culture, and like I said, there's already an insane barrier of entry and travel and all the fees that come with coming over here. For them to even break even, it's an insane endeavor. But on top of that, the amount of money that the US government or the local and state governments are missing out on from all the money that is being spent at these concerts, all of the drinks, the
federal government doesn't really care so much if the local government's making money. As long as the federal government's making money, they don't really care if the small guys are making money. You know? Increase those visas. Yeah. It is ridiculous to me. And people don't really know about this. Yeah, get a petition going. Make this a thing. Make this an issue. I don't know if this is going to be a thing that people would be like voting on or whatever, but like, you try to make it one.
Food, the hotels, the gas, everything that they're missing out on by creating such a high cost application process for each band member is insane to me. So if anything, if there's an argument to be made for why the government should maybe cease these application processes, if all they care about is money, Think about the fact that there are literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of tax dollars that you guys are not getting because you're not letting.
Oh, I can answer that one. You're confusing federal government with local government. They don't care like that. Okay, it's two different governments, and they don't really. I mean, obviously one is like over the other, but money goes. Sometimes the federal government will give local governments money, or like the state government, and maybe then the state government may do, spread that around. But it depends on what we're talking about here. Anyway, but I kind of wonder if it's even about the money, because it seems so evil. It seems so evil. It seems like it's deliberately designed to crush the little guy, the little indie band from Japan or whatever country, prevent them from coming over here, because, I guess, let's run with this conspiracy theory. What? That particular music groups and maybe a particular group of artists at America don't want any other talent to come in to steal from them? I don't know. But it seems like a crazy amount of money.
Letting our bands come over here, and we can't spend money on them. There has to be something that we can do about this. If you guys are in a position to make any type of change, please DM me. If you guys want to help.
Yeah, let's make a change. I mean, I'm good with that. Let's do that. Sure. Yeah. Let's do a petition. A group petition for this whole thing. Let's bring down these visa fees. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Me in this process at all. Let's get together, try to figure out a way to make this application process a lot smoother for these bands.
You're playing Final Fantasy VII there?
And the fees completely gone. And if you know anybody who might be able to make a change in this, send this video to them. Let's get the word spread out here. These articles were written a year ago, and if my friend Peter didn't actually post this on Twitter, I never would have seen it. It's been something that nobody's covering, and if you
it was written over a year ago, huh? Funny.
If you guys would like to help make a change, message me, comment, spread the word.
This is something that's had been This is something that had already happened a year ago, and we did not even know about it.
About this as much as you possibly can. Let's start getting more bands from other countries in America. There's so much talent outside of the US for us to be experiencing. I'm going to be doing a live video on this as well too, talking about it and kind of going over some questions and stuff. I'm really wanting to get this out there soon, so thank you guys for checking this out. Again, if y'all do have any help at all that you can offer on this, comment it down below, message me. All of my socials are at John Reeves Live. My email address is johnreeveslive@gmail.com, and let's get the ball rolling on making a change on this.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Bands from all over the world
I fully
to come to
support
America,
that
like
idea.
The dream it freaking
100%.
is. Thank you guys for watching this. I hope you're having a blessed day or night, whatever time it is. Spread some positivity out there. Be kind to each other.
All right. Yeah. Be kind, spread some positivity. And I mean, that is important. I do agree with that too. So yes. Okay. So the visas have been increased to a crazy amount of money. That is just way too expensive, and it's pretty much a tax on those that wish to perform over here. It's like you have to be able to afford that, which means you have to be a big act over there in whatever country you're from. You can't just be anything. Okay? I mean, big performers like BABYMETAL and BAND-MAID might be able to pay for that, but Bridear, no. No, Bridear's not paying that. They're a cool band, but they're just not paying that. Hagane, they're not paying that. Gotrek Spin. I don't see them paying for that again, unless they do the free option and play at maybe that's what they did. Last time I saw them, they played at Anime Matsuri. I wonder if they did the free option then. Anyway, with that said, you guys let me know what you thought about this. What do you think about this? Present tense. What do you think about this? In the comment section, I'll join you guys there. With that said, y'all take it easy and have a good one.